Hi friends, welcome back or welcome if you are new. My name is Mali and today we're talking TBRs, specifically my spring TBR. As a mood reader, I really like the idea of having a list of books that I can choose from in the span of a couple of weeks or even months. I don't always complete those lists, but it's quite fun to make them. I live in a tropical island, so it's always quite warm in here, but the days have been nicer and even brighter lately. I'm really excited for spring and for summer, and I have a couple of books that I've been saving for these warmer months. I also have some new releases that are coming out in the spring that I'm quite excited about, as well as some Libby holes and e-arcs. Before we start though, I want to give a little disclaimer that these books have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with spring. These are just books that I'm really excited to read right now. First book in my physical TBR that I really want to read in this spring season is On the Calculation of Volume. This was put on my radar thanks to the Booker International Prize. Ever since then, I've seen it everywhere. So many people are loving it, and it sounds just like my type of thing. This is literary dystopia, and it's all about this woman living the same day over and over again. So she is stuck in a time loop. She is isolated from everybody else because of that time loop, and I just love the idea of it. I just love the promise of a quiet, introspective literary dystopia. I also saw a review that said that this is for fans of I Who Have Never Known Men, and that is like my favorite book. That's enough for me to read it. This is a huge 5-star prediction for me, and this is actually the first in a series, so I'm really excited about the idea of loving the first book and loving the second one and the third and the fourth and so on and so on. So yeah, I'm just really excited for this one, and I think this cover also just screams spring. Next on the list is Salt Houses. It's quite chunky. I think it's the biggest book on this list, and I'm quite excited by the idea of spending a couple extra time with a big sprawling story like this. This is a Palestinian family saga. I'm still looking for the family saga that will compare or come close enough to my first love, Pachinko by Minji Lee. I actually don't know much about this one besides the fact that it is a family saga, so let's read the blurb. On the eve of her daughter's Aliyah's wedding, Salma reads the girl's future in a cup of coffee dregs. She sees an unsettled life for Aliyah and her children. She also sees travel and luck. While she chooses to keep her predictions to herself that day, they will all soon come to pass when the family is uprooted in the wake of the Six-Day War of 1967. Salt Houses follows 3 generations of a Palestinian family as they scatter across the globe. That sounds absolutely beautiful. I think this cover also screams a little bit of spring. I know I said that these books have nothing to do with spring, and they don't, but I'm just finding cute little coincidences like this. This is so floral and so pretty. Like I said, I just really want to spend a little time with a big book like this. So we have another Booker International nominee, Under the Eye of the Big Bird. This is another literary dystopian. I'm really leaning into literary dystopia this year because I found out that I absolutely love it. Last year I read some really good classics like I Who Have Never Known Men. I also read Private Rights, and I think I read another one, found that I just really love that dystopia that's a little more quiet, a little more introspective, and this sounds exactly like that. So this is about humans almost being extinct. I think this is actually a short story collection, and they're all interconnected, and I also love a good short story collection. I haven't read Japanese fiction in a hot minute, so I'm quite excited to do so with this one. In the distant future, humans are on the verge of extinction and have settled in small tribes across the planet under the observation and care of mothers. Some children are made in factories from cells of rabbits. Oh, and dolphins. Some live by getting nutrients from water and light, like plants. The survival of the race depends on the interbreeding of these and other alien beings, but it is far from certain that connection, love, reproduction, and evolution will persist among the inhabitants of this faltering new world. I really do love the Booker International Prize because it just brings forward stories like this that I otherwise would have never heard of before. This next one is a little bit more contemporary, and that is Old Enough. Okay, let's read the blurb because I actually have no idea what this is about, but this has been like calling my attention somehow. Savannah Sav Henry is almost the person she wants to be, or at least she's getting closer. It's the second semester of her sophomore year of college. She's finally come out as bisexual, is making friends with other queers in her dorm, and she has just about recovered from her disastrous first queer situationship. She is cautiously optimistic that her life is about to begin. But when she learns that Issy, her childhood best friend, is engaged, Sav faces a crisis of confidence. Things with Issy haven't been the same since what happened between Sav and Lissy's older brother when she was 16. Now with the wedding around the corner, Sav is forced to reckon with trauma she thought she could put behind her. On top of it all, Sav can't stop thinking about Wes from her gender studies class. Sweet, funny Wes with their long eyelashes and green backpack. There's something different here. With Wes and with her new friends, it feels terrifyingly like they might truly see her in a way no one has before. Definitely sounds a lot more lighthearted than I usually read. Again, a lot more contemporary than what I usually read, but it could be good for me. I think I am in the mood for that, for like a lighter read, especially in the spring. So I really like this. I also like the bisexual rap. This is yet another title that's been really calling my attention. This is Some Strange Music Draws Me In. I absolutely adore that title. This is, I understand, another queer fiction. I think in this case we follow a trans girl. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there are trans. I'm sorry if I'm reading the blurb for every single one of these books, but like, apart from like the title and a little one or two things about them, I actually don't know much about the books at all because I like to go into books just a little bit blind. Like I don't like to go into them knowing a whole lot. So I don't ever look up like reviews or analysis for these books that I'm want to read, if you get what I mean. It's summer 1984 in blue collar Swaffham, Massachusetts. What? I feel like I'm gonna have an aneurysm if I try to pronounce that state again, so we're gonna move past it. Mel is 13, drinking a slush puppy at the drugstore when she hears a voice, deep and movie star dramatic, like Lauren Bacall. Sylvia's shameless swagger and tough girl trans femininity sparks fury among her new neighbors and throws Mel into conflict with her mother and her best friend. She comes to realize that not only is there a world beyond Swaffham, there are other ways of being. Oh, it's a trans man. Okay. Narrating this blistering coming-of-age tale from 2019 is Max, formerly Mel, who is on leave from his job for defying speech codes against trans identity. Back in Swaffham, he must navigate life as part of a fractured family and face his own role in the disasters of the past. This is why you read the blurbs, because I was gonna give you guys misinformation telling you this about a trans girl. It's actually about a trans man, but I'm not disappointed. I'm still really excited to read this book. I have another 5-star prediction, and this is a book that you might see in a video really soon, and this is My Death by Lisa Tuttle. I talked about this one quite extensively in my April TBR video because I was just so excited to read it. I'm coming into this book with such high expectations that if I don't love it, I'm gonna be so disappointed with myself. So this book follows two women who are quite different but at the same time quite similar. Our first woman is an artist from the 21st century and she is looking for a muse. So she comes across this artist called Ralston. Ralston was an artist that's been quite overshadowed by history and the men in her life, and it is while writing Ralston's biography that she finds that Ralston and herself had actually a lot of similarities and a lot of things in common. So I'm just really excited for this, and like I said, I have such high expectations, so if I don't love this book, I'm gonna be so devastated. This next one is Cousins by Aurora Venturini. I saw this one while I was on my trip to New York City, and I got this one with the promise that I will read it in Spanish. So I currently do have a Libby hold for it in the original Spanish that I'll be reading quite soon. This follows a bunch of women from this family who all have been through grave misfortunes, from sexual assault, miscarriages, abortions. It sounds quite dark for spring, but again, this is not a spring reads for spring by spring, made for spring. This is just books that I really want to read in this season. So the last book from my physical TBR that I really want to read in this spring is Hungerstone. I know this is much more of a fall read, but I recently read Carmilla and I'm just really excited to read this retelling of Carmilla almost immediately after. I want to not compare and contrast like a scholar, but I'm just really in the mood for more gothic lesbians. So that was the last book from my physical TBR that I really want to read this spring. However, I do have quite an extensive digital TBR as well. So I do have some Libby holds and e-arcs and even some new releases that I don't have available to me just yet that I really want to read. So let's get on with that. So continuing on with the lesbian vampires, I really want to read An Education in Malice. This is another Carmilla retelling, and I guess I should save this one for fall, but I won't because I'm really excited to read these now. So this one's a little bit different than Hunger Stone because Hunger Stone is set in the Industrial Revolution. This is an academic rivals to lovers, and this is quite new for me. I have never read an academic rivals to lovers type of trope thing. I think this is more romance heavy than what I usually read, a lot more fantasy heavy than what I usually read, but I'm willing to try something new, especially for my new obsession with lesbian vampires. This is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm really excited to try it anyways. And spring is for trying new things. On my Kindle, I also have an e-arc for Mina's Matchbox by Yoko Ogawa. This is an e-arc that I never got to in 2024, but I've been really eyeing it lately. For what reason, I don't know. I'm just really in the mood for it. All I know about this one is that there's a little girl and there's like a giant pig. No, wait, sorry. According to Goodreads, it's actually a hippopotamus. No idea what this book's about except for that hippopotamus thing. So I'm gonna read the blurb. It says, in the spring of 1972, 12-year-old Tomoko leaves her mother behind in Tokyo and boards a train alone for Ashiya, a coastal town in Japan, to stay with her aunt's family. Tomoko's aunt is an enigma and an outlier in her working-class family, and her magnificent home and handsome foreign husband, the president of a soft drink company, are symbols of that status. The 17 rooms are filled with German-made furnishings. There are sprawling gardens and even an old zoo where the family's pygmy hippopotamus resides. The family is just as beguiling as their mansion. Tomoko's dignified and devoted aunt, her German grandmother, and her dashing, charming uncle, who confidently sits as the family's patriarch. At the center of the family is Tomoko's cousin, Mina, a precocious, asthmatic girl of 13 who draws Tomoko into an intoxicating world full of secret crushes and elaborate storytelling. Alright, that sounds so good. I love girlhood, so I'm really excited for this one. Like I said, this is an old e-arc, so I feel quite behind on this one because everybody has read this book except for me, and I need to fix my NetGalley ratio. It's actually quite atrocious. So I do want to get through some of my backlist e-arcs, so that's gonna be the start. So this next one is a book that I've seen literally everywhere lately, and it is Madonna in a Fur Coat. I have no idea what this book's about. I don't want to know anything about it at all. I just know that some of my favorite people in the internet are really adoring and loving this book and even proclaiming it 5 stars. So that is absolutely enough for me to pick up this book. All I know, this is a love story. This Turkish man falls in love with this woman, and I think it's quite poetic. I don't know if the love goes sour, if it turns toxic. If it does, it's even better because I do love an exploration on toxic love. This is actually a book that I just added before filming this video, so quite a late addition to the list. But like I said, I've been seeing it everywhere and I feel a little bit left out, and I also feel like I'm gonna love this one. On my Kindle, I have another exciting read, one that's been on my radar for years and years and years, and that is 10 minutes and 38 seconds in this strange world. You know the saying, the life flashes before your eyes? This is what this book's about, basically, and I'm really excited for it. Literally all I know, but like I said, it's been on my radar for years, and I just really want to get to it. I have a Libby hold on my Kindle, so I really do want to read it really soon, especially before my hold expires. My Kindle is stocked up with goodies this spring because on my Kindle, I also have an e-arc for Angustina Basterica's newest novel, The Unworthy. I'm quite excited, but also a lot nervous about Basterica's newest release because I don't think I gel with Basterica. I know that I read 10 Days of Flash like a couple years ago. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. Whatever. And then I read her short story collection, 19 Claws and a Blackbird, I think it's called. That was literally like the worst short story collection I've ever read in a very long time. That was like absolutely worthless. So I'm a little bit nervous for this one, especially because I've been seeing a lot of like mixed reviews, bad reviews even, but I'm hoping that I love it. I'm hoping that I like it a lot better than most people. I'm hoping that it works out for me because I'm seeing a lot of people not liking that a lot of things are unexplained, and that's usually not a huge deal for me when it comes to literary dystopian novels like The Unworthy. So again, I'm really hoping that it works for me. All I know of this is that there is like kind of like an apocalypse. There's less people in the world, I think it is, but our main character is indoctrinated, or she joins this church that has it's basically a cult. That's literally all I know. I'm quite excited for this one anyways. I love weird, creepy nuns. So the last e-arc I have that I'm really excited for is this new title that I was not sure about, but then I've heard so many good things about it. I put in a request for it. I'm quite excited about. It's called Luminous. This is a translated fiction from South Korea, and I think we follow a band of siblings, but one of the siblings is actually like a robot. It's been set for fans of like Clara and the Sun, and I did like Clara and the Sun, so hello, I'm here. I'm excited to read this one. I don't really want to know much about it. I think the siblings are separated and then they come together years into the future. I don't know, but I'm really excited for it. I actually really want to start it really soon. I just love literary dystopia, especially things to do with robots and stuff like that. I think it's so of our time right now, especially with AI running around. This is gonna be a little bit rapid fire. I have some new spring releases that I'm really excited for. The first one is The Emperor of Gladness by Ocean Vogue. This one comes out May 13th. I am trying so hard not to beg on my hands and knees for a physical copy. I might cave and try to do it anyways. So I'm really excited for this book for a couple of reasons. His writing is impeccable. It's so beautiful. He is a poet, and I love when poets write novels. They're always so lyrically beautiful, and I'm just really excited to be devastated. I've seen some reactions to it where people have cried. I don't know why they cry, but obviously it's Ocean Vogue. It's gonna be sad, so I'm just really excited for this novel. The next one is The Starving Saints. This comes out May 20th. This is lesbian medieval fiction. So there's knights, I think there's a plague, there's cults, there's nuns, a little bit of horror as well, cannibalism. Perfect read, 5 stars. Give it to me now, please. This next one is Mending Bodies, and this one comes out April 29th, so quite soon. And this one is yet again another literary dystopia. Like I said, I'm really leaning into literary dystopia this year. There's so much you can do with that genre, and I'm obsessed with exploring it all. So this is one where it's set in Hong Kong, China, and I'm pretty sure people are conjoined, like they're literally surgically put together, like sewn together for some reason. I don't know what's the reason, but I'm excited to find out. So this next one is called Endling. This one actually comes out in the summer, June 3rd, but I don't think it's summer equinox until like the 20th of June, so it's technically still a spring release. I do have an e-arc for this one, so I'm really keen on starting it quite soon. Okay, so the Goodreads page for Endling says 3 angry women, a truck full of kidnapped bachelors, and Lefty, a last of his kind snail. Aren't you intrigued? I'm intrigued. So I have Endling on my spring TBR as well. So the last spring new release and the last book on my spring TBR is Make Me Famous. This is by Maud Ventura, and this comes out May 13. And I'm quite excited for this one because I absolutely adored Maud Ventura's last release, which was My Husband. So excited for a new book by a favorite author. Cleo is taking her first real vacation in years on a remote island with no one else in sight. With the never-ending spin cycle of her life finally on pause and no paparazzi peeking out from behind the coconut palms, she can work on her 4th album in peace. Except that with so much time to think, she can't help but ruminate on her past, including how, just 6 months earlier, things started to go very wrong. Love it. So that is all the books that I want to read this spring season. I do want to give a little disclaimer that I am a mood reader, so I am very sorry if I get too excited for any of these books thinking that I'm gonna read them and give you guys like a review. That could happen, but also that could not happen for a lot of these books. Before we go, I do want to say thank you so much for watching this video and for hanging out with me this week. I will see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.